Hey everybody, christopherodd here. I've got a few things to share with you regarding the upcoming XCOM campaign that's going to begin on Saturday, December 29th. Should be a pretty short video just covering three specific things. Number one is character submissions. Number two is the mod list. And number three, remember how I joke about having a sponsor for the mission loading area because sometimes there's like minute, 2 minutes sometimes of just like loading? Well, we got one and it's awesome. I'll talk about that at the end. Pretty stoked about it actually. For character submissions, there's a couple things you need to do. Number one, I'm going to recommend that you just subscribe to the whole mod list to avoid any conflicts. That's the easiest thing to do. I know some people don't do it. I can't force people to do it, but that's what I would recommend to make sure that you have all of the cosmetic mods and everything else that I have, just so it makes the process a lot easier. All of the character submissions are going to happen on Discord like they always do at discord.gg/christopherodd. Under two different channels. There's the XCOM 2 character submission channel that's open for everybody, or there's a Patreon specific XCOM files channel that you can submit if you're a Patreon supporter. Speaking of Patreon, if you subscribe to the Become a Priority Character in My Games tier, then you're guaranteed to be added to the pool. But keep in mind, regular submissions make it into the pool as well as a percentage of how many Patreons are in there. With preference given to more interesting and well thought out characters. So this way everybody has a chance. For those that are supporting me directly, you're in there for sure. For everybody else, I would still like you to have a chance to get in there, and so this is the fairest way that we've come up with over the past couple of years. Let's get over into the mod list actually. I will show you here, we've got a pretty robust mod list. I wanted to keep it simple, but you'll see that there's a ton of mods in here. And the reason is the vast majority of them are actually fixes or quality of life mods or cosmetics. That's the vast majority of what's in here. Of course, we do have different alien types and things. I'm going to highlight a few here to show you what we're working with. The first thing I'll highlight is a better AI for War of the Chosen, plus the Chosen tweaks. So this should make it where the enemies act a little bit more appropriately and less, I hope, a little bit less expected. You know, you get to a certain point where you're like, I know what this enemy's gonna do, and you can kind of manipulate that. I'm hoping this throws us some curveballs and should make the Chosen themselves a little bit tougher as well. This is replacing a better Advent this campaign, and a nice kind of subset of doing that is that we're going to see a lot of different enemies that we may not have seen in the past, specifically some late game enemies as well. We've got avatar buffs in here, so it should make the avatars a little bit stronger. Hopefully not too crazy, but we'll see what happens. We'll probably, I don't know, maybe it'll be a campaign ender. The avatars will win, it's possible. One of the next ones I'd like to show you is infinite TLP weaponry. So with this most recent add-on, the Legacy Pack, it makes it so that you would get one of the old school type of weapons with an add-on, and you would have to kind of save that throughout your whole campaign. I'm going to forego that and just make it so that we can give anybody the old weapons. I don't want to say I'm going to theme the whole campaign around the Legacy Pack, but I am going to try to utilize a wide variety of weapons and that kind of stuff. So I think this will just make it, we won't get those bonus add-ons, which is fine, but we can use those weapons on anybody that we really want. There's the late game enemies mod, which is going to bring in like things like the Rift Keeper, the Venator, some other crazy stuff that's going to be really difficult to deal with. I'm excited about that. One of the coolest ones that I'm stoked for is the Mech Troopers. So I've historically really underutilized Sparks, and although I do have a Spark mod in here that makes them better and redoes the tree and all that kind of stuff, I think Mech Troopers are going to be really cool because they don't take up like a character submission slot, and I think that it's a cool way, especially for people that are really into like role-playing their character, it's a really cool way to kind of throw them a little bit, and all of a sudden we're starting to replace their body parts, and it gives a kind of a cool aspect to the campaign that I'm personally really excited about. So Mech Trooper is going to be in there, and there is a Spark one down here as well. There it is. Mechatronic Warfare Total Spark Overhaul, which changed a lot of Spark stuff. But I will probably favor mechs over Sparks because it's a somebody actually submitted that character. That's kind of the reason, one of the big reasons that I've historically avoided using Sparks. Anyways, that's some of the highlights. You can feel free to go through the list. I'll have a link down below. But as you can see, just a lot of this is quality of life mods. I'm not using any map mods because I'm excited to use the Legacy Pack maps that they've included now. We're going to run into these old maps just throughout your campaign. I'm super excited for that, actually. And I think this sets us up for a really interesting campaign that should be a ton of fun. Lastly, just before you guys go, as I mentioned earlier, I've joked about this during previous campaigns, but there's sometimes quite a long loading time for missions, and I've often joked in that period. I was like, man, we should get some sponsors for this, and people would joke around and be like, you should get this sponsor, that sponsor. Getting sponsors is tough, but I was approached by somebody recently, and I really am a fan of their company, so it makes a lot of sense. I'll put up a little teaser here in a second, but I'm going to try to come up with something really creative for like a 45 or 60 second little sponsored thing to run during the mission loadings on I think just Saturday episodes. I'm not going to like spam it every day, probably like once a week. And I think it'll be a commercial, but it will also be, I'm going to try to make it creative, try to make it fun, and hopefully you guys find it fun as well. If you want to know, you guys are going to be like, I've shown some people in the Discord, but you guys will be the second group to see who the sponsor is. And it's actually Display. You've probably heard of these guys before. I won't go into the whole, like, what they are, they're at a basic level. They make posters on metal, and they're really, really cool looking. But one of the nice things here is that they've actually created a few designs for me. So we've got, Are You Odd Enough? I think this one's okay. It's not bad. It's very minimal. Pretty cool. But these other four are really cool. I've got Bruce Sectoid here, as I've called him. Central Officer Odd, as you can see the reference. Mr. Sectoid. Like, look how cool that looks, man. That's really good. And then kind of a more general purpose Set the Vibe one. Kind of ethereal looking. I'm really happy with how these look. But yeah, I've used these guys. It's really cool. And I hope you guys dig what I come up with for like a cool little commercial or ad spot for these guys. And if you want to check it out, links are down below. No problem. That would be pretty cool. Anyways, that pretty much covers it, guys. I hope you're looking forward to another great season of what I like to call Heroes and Zeros of XCOM. If you've never submitted a character before, I would love to have you submit one this season. There's also a vibrant role-playing community I'd just like to shout out. They compile a ton of different posts or logs every single episode, and if you ever get the chance to read through some of these, they're really, really incredible. I'd also like to quickly shout out the group of people in Discord who helped me with the mod list and just making sure I don't have any duplicates, make sure there's no glaring conflicts or anything like that. I always appreciate the help from those guys. So anyways, thanks guys. Have a great one. Have a great holiday. If you're doing anything, drive safe over the next week or so, because there are going to be some crazy people out there on the roads, and just take care of yourselves. We'll see you guys next Saturday for the beginning of the new XCOM campaign. Get your characters in now, discord.gg/christopherodd. Hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye guys.